Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live match reaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for this evening. The Reds are picking up some momentum as they were victorious yesterday with a 3-1 victory against Crystal Palace. So, during the show, we'll have a little recap and review the game. Plus, we'll discuss some of the talking points and see what's next for Liverpool in terms of the fixture list. But before we begin, please don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. It only takes a moment, but it goes a long way for the channel. So let's talk about the first half. Palace created a few chances early on, and it looked like they were the team that might have broken the deadlock. But Liverpool had other ideas as they scored in the 35th minute. Great play from Salah on the right hand side, shrugging off the French defender Campbell. McAllister picks up the loose ball from the edge of the box, hits a shot that was going completely off target. But our number 9, Alexander Isak, instinctively controls the ball and volleys it as it bounced towards the goal and inside the back of the net to make it 1-0. And then moments later, Kamada whips it across towards Mateta, who heads it towards goal. But Freddie Woodman, who makes his debut, produces a fantastic save to deny the striker. But in that same moment, Liverpool hit Palace on the counter attack. Jones threads the through ball to Robbo, who's driving with the ball and smashes an inch perfect shot into the bottom corner to make it 2-0. Looks like Robbo's found his shooting boots all of a sudden and scoring goals for fun, which is a great sight, to be honest. Palace tried to get a goal before halftime as Lacroix leaps high and produces a header towards goal, but Woodman does really well to deny Palace yet again. And in the second half, Palace did grab a goal, but it was certainly a controversial one. Freddie Woodman got injured after making another save from Ismail Assar's shot. Straight away, Woodman is on the ground. He's holding his hand, waving in the air to suggest that he's injured. In normal circumstances, the opponents kick the ball out of play and allow the goalkeeper to get some treatment as it's the sporting thing to do. But in this scenario, um, it wasn't the case. It's not common to see a goalkeeper injured, so when that occurs, you can't allow the other team to have a man down in that regards. Of course, it's a different scenario when it's an outside player, because if a player is injured, you can have other players surrounding him to cover ground, and it could be a different approach altogether. But when a goalkeeper's down, last time I checked, no one else is on the pitch is allowed to pick up the ball other than the goalkeeper. So, it's a form of you know cheating. I would say um if you see the goalkeepers down, you continue to play. Some will argue and say, look, Palace didn't have to kick the ball out of play, but I've seen in so many other games that when that has happened, the normal protocol is always kick the ball out of play so the goalkeeper can get some treatment. Oliver Glasner suggested after the game that had Woodman been substituted due to injury, then his team would have scored an own goal. Now, do me a favor and stop talking porkies right now. I'm not believing a single thing that comes out of his mouth. This is the guy that threw a tantrum in the last minute when Mark Gay was supposed to join Liverpool on transfer deadline day last summer. But hey, let's not digress and think about the past. And in regards to this match, Manu scores a goal. I'm not going to give him too much credit in terms of what occurred. But then moments later, someone from the crowd threw the ball at his face. I shouldn't laugh, but looking back at it, I think he probably deserved it. But in terms of the game, Palace almost got the equaliser as substitute Strand Larson is through on goal and places the shot towards the corner. And somehow the ball hits the inside of the post, rolls to the other post, and then goes out for a goal kick. No, that's what you call bad luck on your side. So unlucky for the Norwegian striker, but for Liverpool, probably counts. I was lucky that didn't go in because it could have changed the whole spectrum of the game. But in the latter stages of this fixture, my client Florian Wirtz scored a fantastic goal and it smashes a loose ball into the post and into the goal to make it 3-1. And that goal secured the win for Liverpool. So overall, I'm pleased with the result. The performance was a little bit better. I'm not expecting us to be playing champagne football anytime soon. I think what is important is that we get the wins now. And I think based on how he performed, I think he was thoroughly deserved. And Palace fans may counter and say They created more chances, but I think most of their chances were not clear cut. And also, you have to give credit to the Liverpool goalkeeper who made a lot of great saves. And speaking of the keeper, what a performance from Freddie Woodman. It was his first full Premier League debut. Of course, he came on the other day against Everton, but this was his first debut, and it was actually against his boyhood club. I didn't realize that Woodman was from South London and Croydon, to be precise. So good to see someone from my neck of the woods playing for Liverpool. But in terms of his performance, he was fantastic. Produced a number of saves and looked so assured in possession of the ball. I'll say it, with a bit more chest. I feel more confident seeing Woodman in goal in comparison to Mamadashvili in every aspect of the game. I think Mamadashvili might be better as a shot stopper, but in terms of on the ball and just understanding the game, I think Woodman, with more experience, reads the game a little bit better. So in this fixture, I think Woodman deserves all the plaudits and rightly so. Um, in terms of another player that really stood out, well, not in terms of performance, but what I would say is good to see him back. Back in scoring form, and that is Alexander Isak. And what I loved about his goal was the fact that it wasn't even a pass that he received. McAllister tried to hit a shot towards goal, but Isak calmly killed the ball with his control and then hits a target with a volley. Uh, it wasn't one of his cleanest strikes, to say the least, but sometimes it doesn't need to be. It's all about precision in these moments. And then moments later, Robertson enters the frame and puts his name in the hat as he becomes the second goal scorer of the game. I think Robo has been staying up recently and watching Messi compilations because he's got some technique in his shooting now. And my question is, where has this Robo been over the years? But jokes aside, I'm so pleased that he scored his goal, took it so well. And after seeing his celebrations after the game, it hit me a little bit that, I'm going to miss Robbo in the team. His passion, his desire is so infectious, and it's something that us fans can really appreciate when we see a player giving their all on the pitch. So for the club to not give him a contract is suicidal. I'd go as extreme to say that. I hope the club does a U-turn and offer him a new contract because I think we're making a big mistake letting him go this summer. And speaking of someone that is leaving this summer, that is Mohamed Salah. So based on what happened in the game, of course, he picked up a hamstring injury and had to depart from the pitch. Um, Normally, with those sort of injuries, you are out for about 4 weeks, I would say, on average. So because of that, my gut is telling me that this may be the last time we see Mohamed Salah play in a Liverpool shirt, which is, yeah, another sad moment there, especially as we're not used to seeing Salah pick up injuries over the years. He's barely been injured since he joined Liverpool. So yeah, another sad moment, and realizing that another club legend will be leaving us very, very soon. And another player that had a decent performance yesterday, and I'm hoping one day can become a legend like Salah, is Florian Wirtz. Uh, Decent performance from the Wunderkind, as they say in Germany. He was the one that created the move for Robertson's goal and then also grabbed himself a goal at the end of the game. Um, Now, it's one of those rare occasions where we actually saw Wirtz and Isak play in the same match. So both players showed glimpses of the quality. I wouldn't say, we saw their true capabilities, but, glimpses will suggest that there is something for us to look forward to next season, and I'm hoping that we get to see the best out of Florian Wirtz and Isak next season. So what's next for Liverpool? Well, our next fixture is against Manchester United next Sunday at Old Trafford. United are currently in third place, but they are on joint points with us. The goal difference is also the same, um, although they have scored one goal more than us, hence why they are above us. But even in our worst season, we're equal on points with Manchester United. So it goes to show, how terrible we're doing. But United haven't really excelled either, in my opinion. So this is the game to disrupt their momentum and pip them for third, because I believe it's definitely up for grabs now. It's safe to say that we've qualified, of course, not mathematically, there is a chance that we could lose games based on how the season has happened for us. But it's safe to say that we have secured some level of European football for next season. So with that in mind, we need to make sure we're ready to finish the season with as many points as possible and try and finish as high as up the table as well. Which I think will be third place. I think that is the realistic target for us. Of course, you don't get anything for winning or finishing in third place, but you don't get anything for finishing second 3 years straight or going on to 4 years straight either. So yes, that is shots fired to the Gunners there. But look, I'm confident we can get the win and make it free on the bounce. But after that, we've got some tough fixtures coming up. We've got Villa, Chelsea, and Brentford as well. So those teams are around us in the league. So we need to make sure that we get those points, and hopefully we can finish on a high at the end of the season in a respectable position. So that's my match review. Let me go through some of the comments before we close the show. Ozan, big up Ozan as always. He says, "Surely that's UCL secured Ozzy for next season." I would say so. Of course, mathematically, if we were to lose our games, which you can't rule. I'm not trying to bring any negative energy here, but this season has shown us that Liverpool can win some and lose some very, very easily. But I think with the gap now, I think it's quite a bit of a gap, isn't it? Let me quickly confirm the gap between us and so Villa, of course, are joint in fifth place. The team that are in sixth is Brighton, and they're on 50 points, so 8 points gap. That should be enough for me, or for me to suggest that we have Champions League football next season. Of course, if Villa win the Europa League, that's another spot for Champions League football as well, according to what I've heard. So it's safe to say we will be playing Champions League football, which is what we wanted, as a minimum before the season concluded. I'm not going to say I'm pleased with that outcome because that's not what the target was at the start of the season. The target was to regain the title, and we were nowhere near doing that whatsoever. So it's not a success just because we qualified for Champions Football. That is a given. I'm not saying that as a cheeky fan or as a someone that feels like we've been spot over the years. The team that we have right now, we should be finishing in the top four, top five, whatever. That is always a minimum. So I don't think us finishing where we are is a success, but we have something to work towards, or we have the foundations in order to achieve better things. Hopefully next season. Wayne says, "We got Ozzy and chat got mixed feelings about the game. Good thing, but rubbish performance." Hey, it wasn't the best of performances, but hey, I don't think that's what it's about now. I think it's all about getting those 3 points and climbing up the table. Ahmed says, "Hello, mate. I did say about the Everton win. If we beat Palace, then our UCL football is almost 90% secured." Yeah, I remember you saying that. It feels like it is pretty much secured now. So yeah, I'm definitely on board with that. Ozzy says, "Ozzy, what can Slot do that will make you change your opinion?" Apparently, he has unlimited credit in the bank. He doesn't have unlimited credit in the bank. Whoever told you that is telling you lies as well. No, for me, there's nothing much he can do. I feel like I've seen enough this season to know what this man and what this coach is about. I just don't think it's good enough for Liverpool. If we were to continue with him, I'm not gonna have my hopes high, and I think the ambitions or the expectations for next season will be lowered because of our coach. So that's the way I look at it. I don't really rate him as a quality coach. So for me, if he's there, of course, I will support anyone that is a part of the Liverpool setup, but I'll still have my opinion based on what I think. Um, Ahmed says, "Massive 3 points. Well done to the lads, especially Freddie Moon had some great saves." Yeah, he did produce some great saves, to be fair. Ahmed said, "Big steps into European UCL qualification. Um, let's hope Man United beat tomorrow. I hope so." Ahmed says, "Salah hamstring injury is what I am worried about. I really hope this isn't the last time we see him in a red shirt." It could be, but yes, hopefully it's just a small niggle and nothing too severe. But Mohamed Salah never really walks off the pitch if it's not serious. So unfortunately, it could be curtains for his season and unfortunately for his Liverpool career as well. Um, Others says Slot has to give more Salah minutes in the last match of the season. That's if he's fit and ready to do that. No matter what, it's only right. I agree, but only if he's fit. You don't want to aggravate his injury. The next club that he joins won't be happy to see him on the pitch if he's not fully fit. Amir says, I'm so glad Glasner's leaving the Premier in the summer. He will not be missed. I definitely concur with that. Ozan says, Freddie is practically your next door neighbor, Ozzie. Yes, I didn't know he's from South London. Because I know his father is the coach of Bromley, which is also another team in South London. But I didn't realize he's from South London. So yeah, nice to know that got a fellow South London in the Liverpool team, as well as Joe Gomez. Amir said he was in tears getting the reception and hearing his name being chimed with songs. He deserves it. What guy? Yeah, look, Freddie Woodman. I think it's a nice moment that he got his debut. I don't think he expected it. I'm sure a lot of us didn't either. But when it happens, I feel like it was such a nice thing to see. And you could tell it meant a lot to him as well. Walking with Robertson after the game and receiving the round of applause. He even looked a bit emotional, yeah, as Armin mentioned. So it was good to see that. And I think it's a nice touch from the fans as well, showing their support. Wayne said Woodman had a game with 3 big saves and he's better with his feet than Mama. Oh, he's definitely better with his distribution. I totally agree with that. Um, yeah, definitely I see Woodman as a safe pair of hands in goal whenever he comes on. So yeah, it's good to have that sort of option in the squad. Amma says Isak's first touch to finish was clinical. Yeah, it was lovely touch there from the Swedish striker. Wayne says we need to feed Isak because he kept dropping deeps to get on the ball. When he passes it forward, there's no one to cross up front. I agree. That's not really his game. His game is to lead up top, but also sometimes he does like to drop deep. I've seen him do it at Newcastle, but the thing is, the team needs to be set up for him as well at the same time. So when I say that, if you've got 2 number 8s behind him, they need to roam ahead of him, and then that's where he's able to be around the edge of the box and then produce those lethal shots that he used to do for Newcastle. So it's all about tactics, and right now we're not really playing to his strengths, in my opinion. But hopefully next season, maybe we can switch up the tactics a little bit and play to his strengths, and hopefully we can see the lethal striker that made us sign him for that much money last summer. Other says offer who a new contract slot. Did I say offer? I didn't mention a new contract, did I? I was talking about Robertson. I know Robertson's confirmed that he's leaving, but I really hope that there's a change of mind from the hierarchy and they give him a new contract because I don't think he's done. I feel like still got plenty in the tank. He might not be sort of a first team starter where he plays left back week in, week out, but he can definitely play a lot chunks of the season, in my opinion, in rotation with Kirkes. So that's the way I would present the squad next season. But I don't know. Let's see what happens. Armin says Red Sox coach has been fired by Henry along with his 5-star slot. It's got no correlation with with the Liverpool job, unfortunately. Armin says hopefully Brentford batter United. Double D, big up Double D as always. He says always nice to win, but without Woodman, this could have been a different story. We have a lot of work to do. Yeah, he definitely stepped up. He made some good saves for us. Even the one where he picked up as an injury. I know they scored in the end, but that was a big moment there as well. And he produced 2-3 saves before half time. So yeah, he definitely helped us for this win. So credit is where it's due. He really stepped up for us. So you're really, really pleased in terms of hype fun. Of course, we've been playing his debut. It was a nice touch. But yeah, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to the likes of Ozan, shout out to Wayne, shout out to Ahmed, shout out to Double D as always. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.